Hello, welcome to episode 1 of the PowerShell Jumpstart series. So before we jump into scripting, I would like us to get familiar with the console first. Right, so we will click on the Windows icon. This might be the start button, depends on your OS version. In this case, I am using Server 2012 R2, but it should be pretty much the same for Windows 7 or Windows 10, for example. So just look up PowerShell under Programs or your program search bar. Okay, so click on Windows PowerShell and there you go. That's the console. Now before we start messing around and typing in commands in here, I want you to right click on the taskbar icon and right click on Windows PowerShell and click on Properties. Now look up the shortcut tab and click on Advanced. Now what I want you to do is to check Run as Administrator. So you don't have to, right click and choose Run as Admin every single time. And, with this, you will only have to do it once. Something else you want to do is to right click on it and pin it to the taskbar. You can create a shortcut and there's more than one way to do this, but this is my preferred way to go about it. So with that done, let's right click on the top left icon here and click on Properties. If you have done this with the command line interface, you will notice it's very similar, if not the same. So here you can adjust the buffer size, so it stores the commands you've used and you can go back as much as you need, as much as in these cases as many as 50 times. And for the font size, you can increase it, decrease it, and change the font type, up to you. For the layout, I like to keep my buffer a bit large on the width. So sometimes when I output some data to the console, it doesn't get chopped. So again, this is up to you, and you can change it when you need it. For the colors, you can go full nerd and do the typical black and green matrix style screen. It's up to you. For now, I'll stick with the standard colors. And you know what? Let's increase the font a little bit so you can. Oops, there you go. So you can read what I'm doing here, right here. So with that out of the way, the next thing I want you to know is that you can already use everything you know from the command line, right? So, basic commands like host name, so you get your current host name, and who am I to get user. With the domain, if you're using a domain account, you can do the usual ping. So all of that you can do in PowerShell. So let's do it. Host name. There you go. Who am I? That's my user. So I will ping yahoo.com. Right. I can do Control-C to break the command that is running. You can do ipconfig. You can do system info. And the usual commands you have already used all your life in Windows. So let's clear the screen. And last one, you can change the directory, for example. Let's do ctemp. That works as well. Now, PowerShell has its own set of reserved variables, functions, and commandlets to do all of these. But it doesn't hurt to go back to the command line commands you already know. It comes in handy for quick and dirty searches, or also every now and then you will bump into cases where you will need to use the good old tools from the command line. So there are some exceptions that you can use, but you need to find your way around it. For example, if I wanted to check a service on the command line, I would use query, and let's use netlogon, for example. Right, so netlogon is running. If I wanted to do this on PowerShell, it doesn't work. So let's do .exe. Let's add the .exe extension, and that works. Another way to go about this is to tell PowerShell you're using the command line. So let's do cmd.exe, and let's use sc query net logon, without the .exe extension, and PowerShell will know it's a command line tool, right? And there is a lot of command line tools that you might want to know about if you don't know already. For more in-depth information on how to use them within PowerShell, I suggest you take a look at Jose Barreto's TechNet blog that will detail and go more in depth with this information. So let's start Chrome. This is the blog. Right, I will share this in the video description below. And for now, we want to keep these episodes short and sweet, and we'll go more in depth with reserved variables and commandlets and functions in the next video. For now, thank you.